brought on a national platform. So we'll talk about that a little later. But let me introduce our speaker, and his theme is stopping crime through diversity. Name is Lieutenant Senior Chaplain Willie Bates II. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Uh, uh, Lieutenant Senior Chaplain Willie Bates II has over 25 years of service in law enforcement and ministry. Chaplain Bates has been a leader in crisis intervention, jail security, community policing. As senior chaplain of the Marion County Sheriff's Office, for those who don't know where that is, that's Indianapolis, he emphasizes the importance of diversity and cultural sensitivity in law enforcement. Don't miss this opportunity to hear this great insight that we will be hearing in 1 second. And we just want to now, without any further ado, Chaplain Willie Bates II, Senior Lieutenant, we would love you to share with us how you have been working in the area of prevention and reducing crime in your communities and serving America as a whole. Welcome.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. So it's definitely an honor and a privilege to be here on today. Again, my name is Willie Bates, Lieutenant Willie Bates with the Marion County Sheriff's Office. We are the largest sheriff's office here in the state of Indiana. We serve population is completely of our inmate population is 2,500. But I'm the chaplain for that population, as well as all of the employees of the Marion County Sheriff's Office, which is roughly maybe around 1,000 or so, if not a little bit more, their families and the things that we do here. So again, I'd like to thank Bill Stoner for giving me this opportunity or inviting me out. I'll just like to start real quick. I was born here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And one of the things that really amazed me about law enforcement and about community, and then stopping or to help to decrease the crime within this community, was when I was 5 years old, my mother had committed suicide. And by way of that, I think we stayed in Indianapolis a couple of years. I ended up matriculating through to Chicago and then to Arkansas. And then when I graduated from college, came back to Indianapolis because my heart was always to come back home and to be of some assistance to my community. I felt that when I got back here and after serving 14 years in the Army and doing that, as well as being here with the Sheriff's Office, one of the things is just being the best that you can be and to help your community. So one of the ways that I saw that of helping my community is being a part of the Sheriff's Office. So I've matriculated through the Sheriff's Office at many ranks and many different things. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, because we're talking about this diversity, community, promoting community and helping to stop or reduce this crime through diversity and being a part of our community. Now, let me say this. I have the distinct pleasure of working for one of the best sheriffs there is, which is Kerry J. Forster. And when he gave me the opportunity and gave me the opportunity to be senior chaplain, as well as being a sworn deputy, of course, been in ministry for 25 years. When I first started in 1997, I had to jump on that. And so I thank him for that opportunity. Now, when we're talking about, and I'm going to share a little bit about what we do at the Marion County Sheriff's Office and the things that we do to help to come together with our community to help to assure that the crime rate, or we do our part for our community. So first of all, one of the things is it's like community policing. It's one of those things I've heard all the way through college. I got a master's degree in criminal justice. And so one of the things is that I've heard that all the way through my college career, this community policing and taught about community policing. And one of the things that really amazed me about it is do people really understand community policing? And then what role does law enforcement play in community policing? Well, we know that in community policing, law enforcement help to emphasize in a proactive problem solving when it comes down to a systematic um, dealing with crime, and not just being routine, but to be proactive with it. And being proactive with it as far as being a part of the community. Now, I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself, but one of the things is that policing and law enforcement help to encourage agencies to promote and develop situations or solutions to these immediate underlying issues, problems that our community faces. So what are the things about the community policing that is so amazing, and you'll see here today that I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit, is that it causes law enforcement to go outside of its normality of just not being crime fighters to try to, quell situations, but to go outside the box and to say, what can we do to help to build a bridge of relationship with our community? We know that policemen and law enforcement, we're here with the sheriff's office. We got Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. Of course, we have the state troopers, park rangers. The list goes on and on. All of the different townships and places that we have law enforcement. But one of the things that really amazes about it is we have to get involved with our community. And so with some of the things that the sheriff's office do in that vein of being a part. Now, let me just say this. First of all, a person has to understand that they are a part of the community. And sometimes we think because we're in a bubble around the community that we live in, that we are not a part of the outside community. So we have to realize that we are part of the greater look of the community. That's every facet of the community, even though we may represent a certain segment of the community. So real quick, it's a story. When I first got into criminal justice, I remember I was at an HBCU in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, University of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, UAPB. And I remember being in this class. It's a criminal justice class, had a law enforcement instructor who was the teacher. And it was something amazing because I met at HBCU, which is a predominantly Black university. I looked in the class, had about 70 students in the class, but there was one white gentleman, one white student that was in that class. And I remember thinking to myself, man, I wonder how he feels. Not that there was a race issue, anything like that. I just wondered how he felt. Not knowing, about a year and a half later, I would transfer to A State University, which is in Jonesboro, which at the time, I can tell you maybe 9%, 10% was the diversity piece. And I found myself being in that same situation. And I thought back on myself, I'm in a class and I'm the only Black student. And I thought to myself, man, that's the same thought I had to myself when this gentleman was at A State. So what I quickly had to realize wasn't about being, about race or anything like that. It was, I was feeling uncomfortable for a while. And the teacher would ask me a question. And I remember wholeheartedly answering a question saying, hey, I can't speak for the Black community, because it was a question about the Black community and the recidivism rate or how to stop crime. And so I quickly, within about 2 or 3 months, I was really considering transferring back to Arkansas State University, to UAPB. But then something amazing happened. I looked in the mirror and I realized that if I transfer, it's not because anything was going on. It was because I didn't consider myself a part of the community. Now, once I did not transfer, and I made up a resolve in my mind that this was my community and I'm going to stay because I knew that God was trying to get me into something. I realized I had to know that I'm a part of the community in which I'm a part of, even though the community at that point didn't reflect me outside of skin tone, what I did, culture, and things of that nature. But the thing that connected me was the education, the bridge of education. Now, I say all that because when I moved here to Indianapolis, still in the military, I had to find a unit. I went to a unit that was all white. And I remember thinking, because my first sergeant asked me, and I'm saying this for a reason, talk about diversity. was that once I got into that unit, the first sergeant came to me after the first 6 months and said, "Hey, Bates, I got you already approved for transferring to a sister unit." Well, the sister unit had a group of people that looked like me. And so he thought I wanted to be in that unit. So being military, I accepted, and I left out of the office and I came back in. I said, first, I'm curious, why am I being offered this to go to this unit? He said, well, I just thought you might want to go. I said, hey, I'll do it if that's what you want me to do. But honestly, my heart is to be in this unit. And he was amazed. He was like, you want to be in this unit? I was like, yes, sir. Stayed in that unit for 8 years. 8 years. Now, what I'm saying is diversity. We first have to know that we are a part of our community. Even though we may not live in that community, we are very much a part of that community. And the people that we come in contact with, whether they break the law, don't break, whatever it is that allow law enforcement to be present with them at that time. So now I say all that to say this. We have to identify and know that we are part of the community. Every part of it. Hispanic community, the Islamic community, the Black community, Asian community, every community that we have. Indianapolis, a great melting pot, we are part of it. So now, with that resolve, knowing what do we do, what is best practices? And this is something that was so amazing. Our sheriff, Kerry Forster, he was watching something, but he came to his command staff and said, hey, I want to start a program. This is a community-based program. This community-based program was called, that he named, Through My Eyes. Now, this is one of the programs that we utilize. Now, consequently, let me say this. I did receive the Frank Anderson Sheriff Diversity Award, the first one given. Of course, Sheriff Frank Anderson was the first Black, or the second, but sheriff here in Marion County. Now, I got that award, Diversity Award, because I had to go outside of every part of our community and bring people together. And I've gotten, whether it's ministers, pastors, the business people, and we had a total of about close to 200 at our first event, as far as Through My Eyes. I mean, not Through My Eyes, but through a faith-based called Faith in Blue. Now, with that being said, what I'll say all that to say is being a part of the community and diversity really means a lot to me. That it's not about me. It is about my community and what I can offer to the community, to individuals, to help them, i.e. a pledge from God. So this Through My Eyes program, great program. Sheriff Forster got this program, gave it to his command staff, gave a vision of what it was that he was looking for, and the command staff ran with it. Now, Through My Eyes program was a program where when you're looking at law enforcement, what is the most dangerous part of law enforcement? One of the dangerous parts of law enforcement is traffic stops. So Sheriff Forster had a vision. He wanted the community to see and be a part of this training where the law enforcement would give them facets about traffic stops and then take them through traffic stops. And then in turn to help the community. We had community, all faceted parts of the community, from pretty much almost every part that was a part of this program. And we would run them through a scenario of traffic stops. Then we would have them to switch roles with law enforcement, and then they would be a part of the traffic stops. They would be the police officer. We would be the persons that they're stopping. Now, what it said was, if you're interested in this, Through My Eyes. So sheriff thing was, I want the law enforcement officers to see what it feels like to be a part of the community and to be stopped by traffic. And of course, that dynamics is different depending upon your race, depending upon what area of the city that you're in. And then also to allow our community partners, every facet, to be policemen or deputies. And then they would exercise and be the law enforcement, so that each person can get the feel of what it is to be in law enforcement and to see the danger at that immediate time, because there's so many dangers when you're doing law enforcement. So with that being said, that program, Through My Eyes, is a program that Sheriff ran with, And this program, we probably have done about 6, where we be going into the 6 community-based part of that. Now, what is so great about that is we can have students, young people that are of driving age. If you're 15 and you're getting your lessons, parents teaching you how to drive, and you get pulled over you get stopped by a police officer, how are you going to react? Because that's the danger in it. When we're talking about law enforcement, we've had officers that were killed, that were maimed, people that were injured because of the traffic stop. And it became a successful program. And I'm telling you, it is making a difference between our community, the different facets of our community, and letting them have a close up look of what it is to be able to do a traffic stop, to be a part of law enforcement, and i.e. for the police officer to be that community partner, to be that person. Now, also with the sheriff's office, which I love, is that we have a whole community outreach assigned, which is ran by one of our Deputy Chief Brittany Sleekman. And this community base, or this section, goes out in the community and deals with our community on every facet, every basis, trying to show the community that law enforcement and the community, we're pretty much one of the same. Police officers take off the badge, police officers take off the uniform, take off the gun, take off the taser, take all of those tools that we have, and we are the community, which we are with those items on. And so it kind of interchangeably allows everyone to really be a part. Now, our outreach goes out into the community, every facet of it, and we're a part of it, where we pass our gun locks, where we do classes. It may be whether it's self-defense classes or just being there, saying hi to the community, being a high value partner with our community. And you'll be amazed to how fast the community becomes involved with law enforcement. And now you're there. Now we have bike patrols that we send in the community, and they're there. And the reason that those bike patrols are there is because they are one and the same with the community. And once you're on bike patrol, what do? You're talking, you're stopping at the restaurants, you're seeing law enforcement stopping at the restaurants, talking to the community, allowing the community to know that law enforcement is there, not to be a thorn or to try to use it or use authority, but to be there to be a resolve when the community needs law enforcement. And one of the great things about community law enforcement is that once law enforcement get into the community, especially if you're in uniform, you got a badge, you're looking, you're that officer, is that sometimes you'll be amazed at just the police presence alone. How does that represent our community? How does that help people who may have the ill will to want to commit a crime, but yet they see law enforcement? So one of the things that we do is that we try so hard to be a part of that community. Now, one of the things I want to say, and I know my time may be becoming limited, is what does community policing does for the community? And a couple of things I want to say. Community policing, because those people really understand what it is to be community policing, trying to help break down or to stop as much as possible to quell crime rate within the community. Now, it helps to build community trust. So law enforcement being out there, the sheriff's office, I can speak exclusively for. I have great friends in state troopers, IMPD. I've done community events with IMPD, with state troopers. I'm a part of what is called NOBLE. Now, NOBLE is great. NOBLE is what it stands for is National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. And so all law enforcement comes together and try to be and do stuff for the community. So it helps to build community trust. It helps to reduce the biasness. Now, one of the things about our sheriff's office that I like is that our sheriff and the sheriff's office here, you'll be amazed of the diversity of our department. Our department is diversified greatly, probably so since we moved into our new uh, building 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And the diversity has gone through the roof, which in turns help to allow people to see that the sheriff's office is not just what you think. Now, remind you, let me say this. When I came on the sheriff's office in 1997, I remember going to my first after roll call and my first assignment, and it was just two African American deputies on my shift. Now it is diversified because to have that ability allows our communities to see and to know that the sheriff's office is for the community. And how you best do it, hire people within the community so that we can develop best practices to know how to deal with certain cultures. Now, here's the great thing. Even with the chaplain's office that I oversee, I have four full-time paid staff chaplains. It is diversified. Our chaplains are diversified from Hispanics to Black to African Americans to females. And I'm telling you, it does amazing things. It shows that law enforcement in the community are one agency. What else does it do? It improves the performance. It improves the performance. Diverse officers can bring a variety of skills and culture knowledge to help complex problems. Because someone might come to you and you're like, man, I know them. We have from people that are arrested that are different ethnicities that don't even speak the language, not just they're speaking Spanish, but they may be speaking Portuguese or French, whatever it is. We have that on our staff. And we actually keep a roster of all officers and what they speak, how fluent they are, and what shifts they work so we know who is there at all times so we can actually, serve the community. It attracts and it retains talent because they say, hey, man, they want you. The sheriff's office wants you. It creates an open culture from the sheriff's office to our community, creates an open culture. It involves the community because once you start hiring from the community and community seeing that it's not that old, whatever that could be, how law enforcement look, how policing look, it kind of helps to bring that because we know law enforcement is going through a great shift. People are going away from the profession. And notice I say profession and not just a job because this is a profession, a career. It uses using community policing strategies, putting together strategies, best practices of how we do what we do. Why do we do what we do? i.e., going back to the Through My Eyes program. Because this program was so carefully designed, it allows people to see best practices during a traffic stop. Now, I can tell you, back in the days, well, I'm only 54, so I can't be that back in the days. But there was a time when law enforcement didn't want the community to know, well, how do we make entry here? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? But now it's like, come on, let's work together so that you'll see what it is that law enforcement has to overcome, why they do what they do. And then it allows officers also to know that the community person in the community that you stop or may have to arrest may have a certain fear or resolve when it comes down to just the badge alone, just the uniform alone. And so it kind of helps reflect that. It also helps to embrace serving leadership philosophy. The philosophy. Sheriff's office has a philosophy. Listen, we want to be community servants. It's not about me, it's not about you, it is about our community and what it does. Hence, our sheriff has a great relationship with our community partners, the people within the community. He's always at every event. One of the things I want to share, talk about as I come to a close or give it back is we have a thing called Faith in Blue. Faith in Blue is a national thing that the event that they do around the world, national. And so the sheriff's office started 2 years ago. We had our third one this year. And which is why I won the diversity award, the Frank Anderson, was because we get our community partners, we get our community, the people in the community, we get them out, we allow them to hear from the sheriff, hear from speakers, and the way we structure it is that we try to put a law enforcement deputy at each table of 8 so that the communication can go back and forth. So listen, it's about building bridges. It's about allowing our community to know that we're here to help. Let me say this. I want to say this about text because I'm a chaplain, so I'll be remiss not to say this. It's this. Proverbs 31 says, speak up. This is what the Bible says. Speak up, judge fairly. Listen to this. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. That's law enforcement. That's community policing. Listen, Matthew 22:39 says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Man, this is one that I have on all my emails that I send out to everybody. Matthew 25:40. It says, Jesus says, I tell you, what you do for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did to me. That text always helped me to see that no matter who I come in contact with, I'm coming in contact with somebody, whether we don't determine whether a person is guilty or innocent, but we have to treat them with some form of dignity and respect. And that's one of the goals that we try to do. The Bible tells us, the Bible is strongly, it condemns any form of abuse of power. It emphasizes that authority should be used reasonably and with compassion. So when you intertwine law enforcement in our community, it goes hand in hand with God. Now, one of the texts that I love is Matthew 5:9. Now, I tell this to all the deputies when they come out of graduation class, when I'm doing their graduation. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. You're peacemakers, right? So you're blessed. It is ordained by God. So one of the things is we have to be better when it comes down to better operators of our community, better representatives of law enforcement to our community, so that we can show the community that we're here to help you. We're here to be an asset and not a liability. So with that being said, I don't know if I said anything that could help, but at least to talk about the Through My Eyes program, through the Faith in Blue program, our community outreach program, the bike patrol program, the sickles, we have sickles, that goes out in the community. It's all designed to make or to help to enhance law enforcement so that our community would know that we're here to be of assistance to our community. And our community here means a lot to me because, again, from being a 5-year-old little child to coming back being 54, being on the sheriff's office since 1997 of April, this has been an amazing career. So I don't know if I can hand it back.
Thank you. I want to thank you very much. You did an extraordinary job. I want to thank you. Just as I open up for others to share, I just wanted to recap a few things that you did say to piggyback off of diversity, which to me is the same as what we're dealing with. I think you did some opening up with the Black community. Did different communities, and they have different roots in it that causes. So we look at that. That's why I always use demographics,
Yes,
but demographics are very important. When we know that sometimes the Black community, brown community is more targeted for, violence and et cetera, but everyone, there's violence, and we look at a demographics that each one has maybe similar root causes and some have diverse root causes. So I just wanted to say that even the diversity, when I was listening to you, in the type of partnerships or programs that you have created within the sheriff's department also breeds or engenders sensitivity. And that's where you become sensitive to some maybe a demographics you don't really understand, but now you can understand it. And then, so yeah, but I do have it. I like that leadership philosophy is incredible. We're going to do a conference. I love it, Faith in Blue, but our conference is led, which is the best practices, and you are one of the ones who is just sharing some of the best practices out there, in which I asked the last question. So love to have you come to the conference December 14th and 15th, and in Las Vegas. And I'm bringing other law enforcement persons and everyone who have come on. We're bringing them to the table so that we can do a national strategy, together, bringing best practices and how do we merge with one another so that we can be a national task force, that are looking not silos on their own, which you are, but with substantive and sustainable results. So my last question to you, can you share with us from your diversity outreach strategic moves that you have been making through my eyes, what is it? The Faith in Blue, and the other areas that you have shared with us. Can you give us any stats that results and stats that show some movement of the dial, if you will, or changes or reduction in the crimes in the areas that you are serving?
Now, one of the things with me is I try to be as transparent, and that's the whole thing about being a community, is being as transparent as possible. I don't want to give you any false data, but I can give you this type of data of who I oversee and the things that we do. Now, with who we deal with in the community, our community welcomes our sheriff's office in our section with the chaplain's office. We have a total of about 45 volunteers that come in. We welcome our volunteers to come in so that they can kind of get a firsthand to see what's going on, to be a part of this, what we're doing to try to help defray recidivism rate of people who are incarcerated, to introduce programs, to introduce God. And so we have about 45. Now, this is interesting. We have 45 volunteer chaplains that come in. We probably have a total of about 150 auxiliary chaplains within the community, which myself and our faith-based coordinator, another chaplain who was, i.e. the senior chaplain before me about 3 years ago, that we put our hands on every month. Now, the stats that I want to share with is coming into our section, we do a total of monthly with our stats of, and I have them right here, actually. We do a total of 1,229 requests that we answer from people in the community that's even needed to come and see someone that's locked up, to help address someone. And this is weekly. Monthly, we do a total of 4,601 connects with people in the community, and with people who are incarcerated, and with people who comes in and conduct services. Monthly, we have about 72 that profess their faith. People that come to service, we have an average of 350 to 400 monthly. We do services transports of about 1,500 monthly. On this particular status, 1,100. And then religious services that we hold within our sheriff's office, for that is 4 stats. We do a total of about 42 per week. So when I look at that, and I have people from the community that constantly calls in, and of course you got to have manpower to facilitate and to keep these type of stats going on. But that's just from my section. As far as what we do, community-based, coming to the sheriff's office, dealing with situations. I could, the stats are on and on. Let me just share another type of stat. With the items that we pass out this year alone, meaning this is ending with August, I'm getting my September added to this, is a total of hygiene things that we pass out. If we get these things from the community, the sheriff's office actually provide them, 1,501. Bibles that we give out that we get from the community that either people donate those, 2,134. Spanish, because we have a Spanish population in here, we passed out to this date, 253 Qurans, because we have the Muslim community, 286 religious literature that we give, because I'm talking about from this office here, 3,296. So you can see inmate contact people that contacts just from January to September, 4,180. These are individual contacts, whether it's our people from the outside, our hired staff, chaplains. You're looking at right now 4,180, and not-for services, 236. So we look at trying to really make sure that we reach out and we touch, and that what we do is substantive. It's substantive. It's something that we can actually give out, Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I want to open up the floor. I want to thank, by the way, I was kindly reminded, sometimes I don't say it, but there's another audience out there, and then I take it for granted. But actually, my name is Reverend Zachary Oliver, and I'm the vice president of UPF, which is the sponsor of this webinar. So I just want to officially introduce myself.
Yes, sir.
I am also, we work on several levels, but I also have been in ministry and also been a pastor as well. So
yes, sir.
Yeah. So I would like to open up. Thank you, William. Thank you, William, for reminding me. Yes, come on, William Stoner, Reverend Stoner.
Okay, Lieutenant Bates, I really want to thank you so very much for the dedication and investment that you're making, because it's one thing for our law enforcement agencies to be filled with people who consider certain parts of the city or the population as troublemakers, and that they have to prepare themselves every day when they go to work to solve problems, to restrict or hold down people who have bad attitudes or bad way of life. But your department, and I guess we also have to thank Sheriff Forstall for having that vision of wanting to help bring the community and the agency, all your officers together, so you can realize that there's really no difference. Somebody may wear a uniform, but after you get off work, you're a member of the community also. So thank you so much for not putting up that barrier or that wall. Thank you for reaching out to help other citizens to feel welcome by giving them a chance to see what it's like to go on a mock traffic stop. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just really grateful, being a citizen of Indianapolis, for having such a good law enforcement agency as yours.
Well,
I moved back to Indianapolis a few years ago, and I've been told by other citizens that after the city government and the county government merged, then it became a very large metropolitan area, and that the two agencies, the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department in the inner city and the Sheriff's Department, tend to be in different parts. Like the sheriff is in the county, the IMPD is in the city. To what extent do you work together, and to what extent can you, if you're in the county, get involved in places like Emerson and 10th Street, which has a little bit higher crime rate than most?
Well, so let me say this. So I'm believing the year was 2007, maybe 2000, I think it's 2007 or 4, that this integration happened between county employees and IMPD, which it became a metropolitan. Now, with that merger between metropolitan, sheriff's office usually patrol the outer county roads, the outer limits in the city police, the inner city. But now what we do as a sheriff's office is we function through of course, the sheriff has that right with the court system, warrants, sex registry, and then the manifestation of the courts in the jails. Now, we also have a warrants team and we have a SOAR team that we put out in the community that the sheriff put out. I say we, not me, the sheriff put out. And so with that warrants team, they work closely with the U.S. Marshal. They have a tie-in with that, with the IMPD when they're doing a, if you could say a roundup that is going to merge these two agencies or all three agencies together. So they may go out and do those. We serve warrants. We serve is through the court system. It's the papers. It's the we do the sex registry. So with those types of things, we go out into the community, and you'll see sheriff's cars. You'll see them out there, doing stops, and sometimes that's in the heart of the community. So you'll see that. So there are certain things. Man, look like my computer is actually running low of battery. So I'm going to plug this up real quick.
Go right ahead.
So you'll see, so we do kind of intertwine in certain fashions with our other partners, with IMPD or i.e. the state troopers or the marshal service. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, William, for that, Reverend Stoner.
Can I just say one other thing real quick?
Yes, sir.
I really want to appreciate Sheriff Forrestal, because Faith in Blue is a national organization that has done an excellent job in the past 4 or 5 years to reach out and stimulate an effort on the part of bringing the citizens of each community to meet the law enforcement officers as fellow citizens, even friends.
Yes.
But I think from what I've seen, Sheriff Forrestal has gone above and beyond, because he's seriously reached out to community leaders, especially the faith community. And just about a couple of weeks ago, October 15th, we had our Faith in Blue event here in Indianapolis. And there were probably nothing less than 200 to 300 ministers and community leaders that came to that, because they sincerely appreciate Sheriff Forrestal and the effort he's reaching to tear down walls to bring the community closer together. So just let Sheriff Forrestal know we appreciate him, we respect him.
Yes, sir. I will definitely do that. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wayne, welcome.
Yeah, hi, beautiful words that we heard today, Mr. Bates.
Yes.
Yeah. What came to mind listening to your words? We've all heard over the last number of years that God has left America. America does not need God. I've heard that many different ways. But what you're doing in your way is bringing God back to America, making it front and center. That's the very first thing. And giving God's word to the recruit, to new recruits, new officers that are coming in. And that is so needed. And so I'm so happy to see that. And it really leads into one day we will have one family under God. We're a long ways from that, but we're going in that direction.
Yes.
I appreciate your work and keep going. Keep going.
Yes, sir. I will say this, and I say this, our sheriff or Sheriff Forrestal, and this been the culture of the sheriff's office. We have city police, so well, I'm not going to speak to that, but he does see the vision of the importance of the chaplain staff, the chaplain section, as well as with merging with the law enforcement to work together. I go to conferences and people are amazed. What you all are paid? You all do this. You all do this, and it's amazing because they don't have all of that Marion County Sheriff's Office do have, thanks to Sheriff Kerry Forrestal. So thank you. I would definitely echo that sentiment to you, Sheriff Forrestal.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you. Anyone else? The floor is open. I don't see everybody's hand. Anybody else would like to share some points? Yeah, I think one of the other pertinent statements you made is, and that's what we want to do for our conference, is to how do we build bridges, you know, and what it entails to build bridges.
Yes, sir.
That's an important thing. And I think you were sharing that, you were sharing basically the results that come or occur when you begin to build those bridges. So can you share just a little bit more about building those bridges and how important it is?
Yeah. So the importance of it. Now, it's something very, very fascinating, right? And I heard this, and it rings true. And this is really how I kind of see our chaplaincy as far as being a senior chaplain, is that, you know, the currency is the things that we use. We pay money, the current, you pay the dollar bill, you get certain things back. But the currency, when you start talking about the faith, is the connection being the new current. So one of the things that I look at as far as what I try to do is to connect, in a sheriff, this is his directive, the community with us. So when we do go out there and engage, we have people in the community that call, and there's a program that the sheriff's office have that allows people who are fugitives or who's out there that has a warrant and they want to turn themselves in. Well, the sheriff bridged with one of the pastors in the community, and that person can turn themselves at that pastor's church and not free of getting, feeling like you don't get a shot, or, because whatever it is that they have done. And then they are brought down to the sheriff's office. So it's one of the things that I credit our sheriff with, is because he sees the value in, hey, if we don't have to go and storm and tear a door down, or break a door down to get someone that's a fugitive, that's wanted. And then they, hey, call this number, meet at this location, and then we will bring you to the sheriff's office. It's an amazing program. And that's something that, a lot of people in the community don't know about, because when you have your loved ones that have done something, and now you're like, hey, you got to turn yourself in, you're afraid of their, whatever crime that they may have done, that they may get injured, they may have shot a police officer, but they can turn themselves in and know that they will make it to the processing center safely. And when they get into the ADC, the adult detention center, that they're going to get cared for, So that's that building bridge, that connection with the community, that connection with every facet of the community. And because, quite frankly, when they see this badge, they see the law enforcement, they see the deputy, but they see the sheriff who represent the sheriff. So we want to do that as professional as possible. And in that way, you're not breaking down the relationship between law enforcement and the community, but you're helping to say, hey, you know what? They did do right by my loved one at this particular facet, so that's to be commended. So that's that connection.
Yeah, I appreciate what you just said, because I was just thinking, there's such entities out there that were conservatively demonizing police officers, and this, law enforcement. But when we hear you and we hear other unique others out there, you cannot blanket it, everyone. But there are, jewels and gems out there that that deserve to be heard over other dissenting voices out there. And many times they're not using those voices. They're using incidences that has nothing to do with the betterment of the community, but for their own agendas. And many times their agendas have nothing to do. I mean, I can just see that at one point, you're talking about, you're a chaplain, of course, but you're talking about law enforcement activities, and you're quoting Bible verses. People don't like, there's other dissenting voices that won't like that, but that's not the majority. And through these words, like you have put them, they're applicable to a certain standard of conduct.
Yes, sir.
that everybody should adhere to, no matter if you believe in God or not. It's just standard altruistic conduct, right?
Yes, sir.
Want to
Yes.
thank you for that, and you want to, share a piece as we coming to our close, and to add on to that or to respond to that.
Well, I will say this: the whole thing in law enforcement, as far as and I've been at the sheriff agency since 1997, is to be a more kindler, but still get the job done.
Right.
Be professional, but still get the job done. Be caring, still get the job done. Be consistent with doing things according to policy, procedure, protocol, but still get the job done. Being nice is a choice. Having a professional career, when you're looking at it, it's a choice of how I communicate to the community. Now, again, there are times when you have to have that commanding, you have to do what you have to do. But then there's the time of after that's done, allow me to sit back and then not be a liability, but be an asset to my agency as well as to my community. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That's a great quote. Not being a liability, but an asset. That's your rallying call.
Yes, sir.
Amen. Yeah. Anybody else? We have about 4 more minutes. Anyone else would like to say one word or two? Okay, Nadia, and then John.
How about John first?
Okay, go ahead, John.
Okay. I don't know if this is really, the right time to introduce this, but there was a man elected president yesterday. Are you aware that Donald Trump did win the election?
Yes, sir.
For me, I feel in relation to what we're talking about, that's a good step in the right direction. How do you feel about this change of, in our leadership, if you will?
Well, so let me say this. Because of my background being military, being law enforcement, Boy Scout, military, law enforcement, one of the things that I capitalize on is no matter who you answer to, you do it with all honesty, and you do it with the breath of God. So I think anytime someone gets that promotion, whether it's president, whether if it's captain, chief, sheriff, my due diligence is to be professional, to be the voice of God, to be the reason, but of all, and again, I'm an asset to my community and not a liability. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think we have to leave political stuff out. It's not about politics. I like your answer because I think it's sensitive.
Yes.
It's extremely sensitive, and we shouldn't put people in that position. But you answered it beautifully. Thank you so much. Nadia?
Yes, I just wanted to say, Reverend Oliver, if you don't mind, this man is really incredible, much more than what he's talked about. And I just wanted to say that besides what he has talked about, has the privilege of supervising jail security, Wishard Hospital detention, lockup, processing center, the Indianapolis City County building, the movement team, and the jail tactical CERT team. And he is the CERT team tactical commander, jail hostage negotiator. I mean, what these people do is just amazing. He's the sheriff's ILEA instructor and crisis intervention deputy. And he was in the Army National Guard. So I just wanted to add those things and wish that we could talk to you longer about the stories you have, because you have such an awesome attitude about taking care. So thank you, and God bless you and protect you and
Yes,
everybody.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nadia, for bringing that up. That was like the icing on the cake, right? On the little cherry. Hey, like that. So
Yes.
I want to thank you again for coming on. I really want you to consider Reverend Stoner. We will be sending out invitations like him to come. We will have a segment where the law enforcement officers will speak, but it's all to bring the diversity of best practices together, that we can work hand in hand and collaboratively and build those bridges with each other, because it's not just about my own community, but it's for the national community. And I like what you said at the end, that, you know, you are part of the greater community. You see, some people keep you locked into that community. And that's why we use not only stopping the violence, but stopping the violence in America. Our community, and those communities that have a little harder, you know, and more targeted, but they're still part of the American community.
Yes, sir.
And this is important. And they should be, when you have diversity and then you have a little sensitivity, then they can feel part of the greater community, because many times when you're locked in one community, then you have a limited exposure or a limit of interaction with other people that you didn't realize that care for you, right?
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
That helps with the broadening of their minds and
Yes.
everything, and most of all, broadening of our hearts, right? As
Yes, sir.
as
Yes,
God, you know. So,
Amen.
So I want to thank you. Let's get that invitation to him. I would like him to say a couple of words at the conference as well. And we greatly appreciate you. And I want to thank everyone who has contributed to sharing with us. And I want to thank the greater audience out there who we can't see but are listening. God bless you. We will see you next week. Oh, by the way, we do have a organization meeting, Nadia, right after this, 3:30. I would like you just to be on for a short time. I know you're very busy, but very short time. Okay. God bless you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again,
Yes, sir.
Chaplain.
Yes. Thank you. God bless
Lieutenant Bates, God bless you, sir.
God bless
Yes.
you. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. So you have two. You have the lieutenant, but then you have God's side, the chaplain. So
Yes.
Perfect.
Two by four. Two.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Okay,
thank you all
thank you.
again. God bless you.
God bless everyone. Thanks.
We'll see you.